Just call the order,
Yeah.
pledge of allegiance, let me do like a moment of silence.
And I told them in there, And then
2
roll call.
minutes,
And they're
Okay.
red, they're red.
Call the
Everything
order
pushed back.
at 12:14. Stand up and do the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Me, 9/11, I'd like to give a quick moment of silence if we can, so. Okay. All right. Following our sequence. Roll call.
Roberto Santos. Aquí, no present. Hector Cortez.
Present.
Carlos Gordillo.
Present.
John Galo. Not present. Joel Benavides was on his way. Jose D. Gonzalez.
Present.
Elia Guevara.
Present.
We should have a quorum.
All right. I don't know, we don't, so we're kinda short on quorum, I think we'll bypass that, just go straight to staff reports, then go back to the, approval of minutes, okay? So, first of all, citizen comments, there is no citizens comments unless there's anything available, nothing said. All right, there's an opportunity, so now we'll go to staff reports.
Okay, so Mr. Sanchez is traveling, so I will be presenting his part today. So if you're looking at the passenger reports, you can see July was up from June. And so we're doing really, I think we're doing well on our employments. We're quite a bit up from 22, quite a bit up from 23 on passenger employments. Our cargo report, July was down from June. Not really for sure exactly, why they're all down, but we're hoping that it'll come back up. The FIS, the air cargo, again, it was down in July, but back up a little bit in August. We, for arrivals. And then our total cargo, it's down from previous years. And then the operations for cargo is also down. It's not changed much. Our FIS, Dr. Sackler, do you want to talk about the FIS?
Very sure. Yes, good morning, well, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, we were comparing the August to July, we are below the number of arrivals. Regarding the departures, we have more, but it also has a lot to do where is the destination of those flights. Private passengers are very close to what was the previous months, but we're still below June and March, that were the best years of this, in this case. And in passengers, there's a slight dip from one month to the other, from July to August, but we're more or less in total passengers at an average of the previous month.
And then
We had three
Operations.
operations for the,
Yeah.
for the man. I know that we had some discussions, I was on a meeting last week. I know they're really trying to push and they're trying to work on the land, trying to get more staff on it. That's one of the other issues they have, the lack of staffing. Are we doing anything else? I mean, I know Congressman was talking about it as well, and, I mean, just looking last year from 0 to, in August, we had 3. I mean, is there anything that we could do, anything to push it, or are we working with Mexican Customs to expand the program a little more?
Yeah, well, we've been talking with the officers there, and the main thing is that they mentioned that we had to wait for the new president, for Claudia Sheinbaum, to take her oath of office and begin, and to see what were her policies, what she wanted to do. Currently, they only have those 2 officers that are from 8 AM till 3 PM, and they don't have any other, they're not considering hiring any more officers there.
Well,
at this moment, but we would have to wait for the new president.
Considering the volume, 3 a month.
I just learned about a lot about this, and I know that Mr. Sanchez had said that the people that use it, they have to also be registered. And so that's something that, will, once the new president takes over, so hopefully we'll be able to do more to try to get that boosted up.
Yes, and the other thing is that, like Ms. Hunt mentions, operators, custom brokers, whoever is gonna make the operation, the paperwork, has to go through all the certifications. It's not easy, but there's a lot. Another thing that I've, after attending the Mexico City CARIM conference and talking with a lot of fellow custom brokers, my friends, is that there's not enough information. They don't have enough information about who could do what types of operations. So one of the things that I'm planning on doing, and I already have a series of persons that I'm gonna visit, is if they already are operating cargo in those industries, and if they are flying into Mexico, have them offer the service of the FIS because of the dual inspection. They're doing it some other way, and they're not, they don't have enough information. So that's one of my objectives, just to give them the information, visit them, tell them what are their options, and they would have to know and check and verify that their customers specifically have the certifications that they need for the security of the supply chain.
And our fuel flow, it's down a little bit over last year at this time. But not a whole lot. So hopefully it'll go back up. July seems to be our slow month on the fuel flowage. And we don't have anybody delinquent on our rent, and everybody got the marketing for the month of June to July. We are, working with them. We had a staff meeting yesterday, and one of the things that we're going to start doing is we're going to make sure that we work with our marketing companies and the ad companies to make sure that during the construction process, that we are putting out on social media, what's happening here. Like when we get ready to do replace the escalators, we're really gonna hit social media hard on letting people know that that's what's happening. When we get ready to move from the parking that's blocked now over, we're gonna make sure that we put it out on social media to make everybody more aware of what actually is going on at the airport. And so we're gonna try to make sure that we get that going and making sure that we get a lot of it out there to the public. They're working on the Foreign Trade Zone design logo. They did put a thing on our Facebook page about 9/11 today. So I think that we're gonna see more from them. I know that Manuel and I are working about getting our staff page updated with new headshots so that everybody's on there, people know who we are, and so that they'll know who to contact. Do you have any questions on?
I have a question. It was, not sure if it was at the beginning of the year, or by the end of last year, that there was a contract for a company that was gonna be measuring the people that fly or that go either to San Antonio to understand or to be able to sell more the airport.
Can you go a little more into detail?
It was a bid for a company. I can't remember the name of the company, but
Was it GRA?
I'm not sure that they were gonna be measuring who are the people, let's say from Laredo, that are traveling to San
Oh, like
Antonio,
leakage?
Austin.
Yeah,
or-
so our air service development consultants, that's what you're asking about? Okay,
Mhm.
what was the question?
Has there been like any updates? Have there been?
So in regards to leakage, I don't know because that's, air service development is really something Mr. Sanchez works on directly with those people. However, we have two right now and we're about to go into contract with more. We actually went out for bids, one for air cargo service development and one for air service development. Those bids just closed last week and we're in the process of evaluating. Just so you all are aware, purchasing, has changed a lot, or they're updating our rules, and so even though we see this as a professional services, we are starting to bid it out. And because of that, or we're being required to bid it out, because of that, instead of doing 1-year contracts with these people, we're gonna do like one with maybe 2 or 3 options to extend, so we don't have to be continuously asking for permission. But have we been able to get more data from these companies? Absolutely, especially since we started working with Sardico. I wanna say that it has been beneficial, not just for us, but I know that CBB uses those consultants as well, not for air service development, for tourism. And so, I don't have data on that, but if you want, maybe next meeting, I can tell Mr. Sanchez to present something more on how we're doing with air service development.
Yeah, so we can have just a little bit more of an update, because I remember that, I believe the last time that we had something like that, it was like 10 years ago, or, that they were saying that the percentages were of a lot of people going out of Laredo, so just to have
Yeah,
a little bit more information. And I remember Mr. Sanchez saying that that was an important tool for the airport to be able to sell more, the services to more airlines, telling them, you know what, we have this much people trying to come in, but we don't have the flights, or.
yeah. So we can, so what I'll do is, under request for the next meeting, I'll make sure that we, include like maybe a presentation, or not a presentation, but some information to see how our leakage is doing this year compared to last year, or how it's done in the past.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Mr. Labrada, I'll let you talk about the construction.
Regarding the construction of the terminal rehabilitation project, this coming Monday, we're gonna have, Oberly is the company that is providing the metal roof panels. We're gonna have a rep here for Oberly, and then, the JJ Roofing is gonna also start installing those metal panels. And you can see that half of the roof is already done, and is ready for the metal panel. So we're gonna have the Oberly representative and the roofer and the general contractor inspector and all that, so they can start installing the metal roof panel. And that's the reason we have it like that. The next, like Ms. Hunt was explaining that later on when we finish that, the north side, we're gonna go to the south side, and we're gonna move all the parking lot and doing basically the same thing on the roof. But we're gonna use the social media to notify everybody about that. The next also step is we're getting ready to, working on the escalators, so pretty soon you're gonna be seeing something in that area. That is for sure, you're gonna get a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails and a lot of texts. So we are also planning to use the social media to inform everybody that what's gonna happen is the growing pains. So that's gonna happen. The next project is the construction of the taxiways J1 and J2. That one is about 15% complete. We're proceeding, well, depending on the weather, and we're getting all that rain. So we're doing okay on the taxiway, placing concrete. That's my report, Mr. Chairman. Do you have any questions?
How long is the anticipated timeframe for the escalators to be down? 'Cause I know that's always something, you know,
We're working on the escalators. It's gonna take at least another 6 months, at least.
just to kind of work that out. I know you have it social media. Number 2, how about the conveyor belt for the luggage? Is that fixed yet, or are you still working on that?
That one, we're waiting for the door. Actually, the conveyor is okay. The problem is the door.
It's shipped on the fourth.
It's
It's shipped on the fourth,
It's shipped on the 4th, October?
this month.
This,
It's shipped on the.
The door's shipped, so we're just waiting for them to come in.
Are they gonna, you have to have special people to install it, or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
The company I have for that is DH Pace, and then, they're gonna be, for both of those doors, they're both gonna be brand new. The ones we have now, like, completely serve their full 20-something years of life. And then we're also getting new controllers as well. So that's the one that like has all the chains and everything, so everything will be new on that. And then earlier in the year, we already upgraded all the electronics, so after that, everything's new on it except for the actual part you put your luggage on.
And you said it shipped on the fourth, so is it
It's gonna
still
take
en
a week
route
or
what?
so.
It's en route, maybe like a week, and then after that, then we'll just coordinate the install, and then we'll take it.
Let me put it this way, it's not a simple door.
No,
It's a stainless steel door,
Fire rated.
fire rated.
fire rated.
But so what we are doing, we are making sure during the day, Monday through Friday, we have staff that are working, opening the door so that it works like it's supposed to. On the weekends, we have someone here 5 hours a day to service 90% of the flights for the same thing. And we will continue to do that until the doors are working. Like the 7 o'clock the 9 o'clock flight that comes in, we don't have anybody to work that. So the airlines have to physically bring it inside the door and set it down. The same for the 8:30 flight at night and the 11 o'clock flight at night. We don't have anybody there. But it's just them putting it inside the door instead of on the baggage belt. So it's really not inconveniencing the customers at all. It's inconveniencing the airline employees. But like I said, on Saturdays and Sundays, we have someone here to service 90% of the flights. And so it's being an inconvenience to the airlines. It should not have been inconveniencing the passengers at all.
I also did get that company too to like, they sent like their best guy in the area out here to like try to do like a patch fix to like hold us over until we got the new stuff. And he gave it like, they spent like the day on it, they got it up and running. And then they're like, hey, you just need to like keep lubing it so that way it doesn't have any friction and it works. And he's like, hopefully it holds. And it lasted like a week. So there's nothing I can do to like patch it or anything. It's just, we just have to manually run it until we get the new ones. But it would just, again, they are specialty doors, so they take a lot longer to get in.
That's for logistics, just to throw that out there, you say it's a week and knowing the logistics, transportation, it just seems like,
Yeah.
and knowing even especially moves, you said the fourth and we're already on the 11th, so.
Yeah, it's gonna take a week or more.
Yeah.
For information, I don't know if anybody know, Andrew Knapp is our airport operations manager. That's why he is in charge of all the operations and all the maintenance. That's why he's very well versed and know about all that.
Fair
I
enough.
get a lot of phone calls.
Being a
just-
passenger, it's not, I get a lot of,
Yeah.
knowing my role, like, it's not, people are not that happy as well, I have to bunch up, I'm used to getting to roll around, and, so there are challenges on both sides.
We started with one company and we could not get
Yeah.
information out of that company, and so we had to go to another company. And so I'm learning that it's hard to get things to Laredo, don't know why.
We're in the
but-
middle of nowhere.
But we have been, Andrew has been calling the company religiously, and on, trying to, so hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, it'll be done and over with. But just to prepare, because you will be getting calls on when the escalators go.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's already
And
done.
that's just,
I was gonna ask about that. Could you explain to us a little bit more, why is it gonna take 6 months?
No, it's gonna take to begin with, we need to remove that door over there and all the glass so we can get the escalator. The first thing is, it takes longer when you have to replace an old one and install a new one.
But
So
for the users, how long is it gonna be without having
Oh.
electric?
For the user, it's probably gonna be, give and take, maybe 2-3 months. It's gonna be without that, yeah. Because we need to, the problem is, when we remove the escalators, we also need to finish the size, and we also need to work on a lot of details. What we're trying to do is put some additional stairs on the sides, so that way people will go there. That's the plan B. So before, we were trying to get one escalator at a time, and you would use the center stair to go up and down, or use the elevator. Now I'm talking to the architects and everybody. On the sides, you have the little hallways. We might have a stairway going up and one going down. it's gonna be of course made of plywood or something, the construction, okay, for people to go there. And that way we can reduce the construction time to have both escalators at the same time. That's the plan. The plan is that we also need to do a lot of, new fence for TSA to start getting all the new one and get the old one. So every time you're doing a remodeling, it's like the roof. You have to remove the old roof to put a new roof, so that's why it takes longer to do that. So the escalator is gonna be like that, so we're gonna need to take the escalator, they need to, and hopefully, everything fits, okay? So, remember, in construction, we always have a little cushion, okay? Especially in remodeling, because we get the by the ways, I call them the by the way. By the way, we need to do this and we need to do that.
And we've talked about,
Mhm.
what can we do to make sure that the traveling public is not inconvenienced anything more than necessary. And, we're gonna have more signs up showing them where the escalators are, the elevator is. And we also, if need be, will have our staff ready to take them to the other elevators that we have. Because we have 2 other elevators that are in the non-public area. And so,
We
we'll
have 3 elevators.
yeah, we'll have staff
The user doesn't know it yet.
available to help with the other ones if we need be. So we're gonna be really conscious of what's going on and making sure that we're available to help everybody get where they need to be and do it. We're gonna rely a lot on our airlines to also help us, make sure that everybody's aware of their people that need, help getting up the stairs or up the elevator. So we've got elevator company, stocking extra parts here so that we don't have to wait for parts to come in. So they're looking back and looking at all of them, telling us, okay, these are the parts that we've been replacing, so they're gonna stockpile some parts here, so that if the elevator breaks, then we'll be able to fix it, pretty quickly instead of having to wait for parts. So again, we're also gonna be on social media telling people, hey, this is what's going on this week, and this is what we need you to do. If you think this is bad, wait until TxDOT starts. That's gonna be really bad, because at some point when TxDOT starts, you're only gonna be able to turn right.
Yeah, right out.
So, yeah, that's even gonna, hopefully we'll be further along in our construction before they start, so.
And another thing is, when we start working on the escalators, we planning on putting some scaffold, and we might not have restrooms on the first floor. So we are going to have
With restrooms?
restrooms outside,
Oh.
nice restrooms, they're gonna smell good.
Air-conditioned trailers.
They're gonna smell good and all that, so, yeah. We're not talking about construction restrooms, okay, the porta johns. We're talking about a trailer with air condition, it smells good, with with lavatories and toilets and everything, the whole 9 yards of it. So that's another issue. The same thing when we start doing the remodeling in the second floor, we're gonna create new restrooms. That one is hopefully we'll continue using our existing restrooms while we build the new restrooms, but we're gonna probably have on the outside some trailers for restrooms. We're gonna tell people, you need to go there. Which you do that on the golf courses and all that places that, you go to those trailers and they're nice restrooms. I mean, it's just a trailer, but it's a nice restaurant. And we're gonna keep, so that's part of the thing, so.
Any more by the ways?
Yeah, we're gonna have more by the way. I call them the by the way because every time we move something, we're gonna find, by the way, there's this thing and this, all that, so.
Yeah,
So
so
It's gonna be more
It's-
bad.
Yeah.
it's,
And more or less, when it's the estimated date for the escalators to start the project?
That's the question that we've been asking. This is this
By the
month.
way,
By the way,
Every
they say,
time-
they say this month, September, but
Okay.
we'll find out.
Yeah, 'cause
We will-
hopefully they won't say, we're gonna start on December, so
Well,
vacation time,
we've been
vacation
asking,
period.
that's what I say, 6 months, because I've been asking about all this,
Thanksgiving week.
when are they gonna be here? And,
one of the things, like he said, the door that's down here by the baggage belt, that's how they're going to bring in the escalators. And so, they wanted to start, because what they have to do, since that is part of our secured area, they were having to put up a fence to, change the secured area to not include that door. And because of our baggage belt situation, I have requested that they do not put that fence up until we're closer to the escalator arriving date, because that's going to inconvenience our passengers even more, because American and United and Allegiant are all gonna have to go through, open a gate, close that gate, you know, and it's just gonna be a little bit more cumbersome for them. So, we're not allowing them to put up the security fence, change the security fence until we know for sure and for certain the escalator arrival dates. So we're trying to work with them to not inconvenience them, the passengers and the airlines, any more than absolutely necessary. But
And another, by the way,
Oh my God.
we're working on the generator, having a new generator for the whole airport. They just told us that originally it was supposed to take 95 weeks.
oh yeah, but we're working on a different.
A different generator, and also the automatic transfer switch, they say it's gonna take another 95 weeks, so it's taking forever. This, I don't know, it's, everything in construction, and you know that, everything is back order or
Which-
taking forever, and there's also a lot of construction. A lot of airport terminals are being built, and FAA is paying for a lot of airport construction. So sometimes the delivery of the equipment, that's taking longer than is usual.
But that should not inconvenience the public.
No, the generator is over there by the central plant, that's not, the only thing is gonna be when we start doing the transfer switch, we're gonna have some power outages, but they're gonna be controlled, and they're gonna be at night when nobody's here, but we're gonna have a big generator to have all that transfer switch. But that's gonna be some hiccups, so. Sometimes you do a power outage and then you don't get the air conditioner back, so. And you go and start doing all those little things, so. It's gonna be fun.
All this will not affect any of the flights, though, right?
It should
No,
not.
no,
It should
no,
not.
nothing to do with the flight.
It should not. That's all the staff
That
reports.
was, if I may,
Okay.
FTC, please.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, regarding FTC, we have at the end of 2023, we had 47 sites with 37 operators. And our goal is to be the number one grantee with the number of operators and sites in Texas. Right now, we are, I need to verify this, but I think we are number one in the number of sites, but Houston is number one in the number of operators. So Houston has 46 operators, we have 37, but we have 6 on the pipeline. So hopefully, by the end of the next year, we should be number one on both. The goal for the end of fiscal year 2023 was 52 FTCs, 47 plus 3 that have already been activated. That takes us to 50, and we have 3 that are pending activation. That's everything is already with CBP, and so that should take us over the goal. But one of them, TransPlace, was actually authorized a couple of years ago, but it just stalled. Nobody did anything. They did not do anything. We did not do anything, and right now it's back with CBP. And I just talked with Officer Cuellar a little while ago, and they're going after this. I am going to also try to get them to get this up over the line. We have currently 6 FTC applications in progress, and we have 9 potential operators who have been approached us. We've sent them everything, and we're waiting to see if they're approved or not. We've had 6 modifications this year, and we have 2 replacements, 1 on 1. And we are also working on, like Ms. Hunt mentioned about the logo. We're working also, I am working also on developing a new content for a website. I've talked about how we could bring more, how we could make the FTC microsite inside of the airport site to be more noticeable, because it's buried down like 3 or 4 levels deep. And just coming back from the National FTC conference, there's a lot of things that we can do regarding engagement with our operators that we are not doing, from regular meetings with newsletter, the website, training. So there are a lot of things that we're going to be able to do in the next months. So that would be my report.
Thank you,
I
Dr.
know that I've been on calls, and I actually recommended it for this trans place, one of the issues was name change. So that was one of the challenges they're working through as well.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I'm involved heavily with a lot of customs committees and dealing with the FTC regulations. I know one of the projects they're trying to work through is to allow domestic merchandise to enter, not domestic, but to become domestic going out. We're dealing with small packages, more than anything else, Express Group. Challenges, I know there's a lot of people against that because of the fact that there's some drawback concerns, but at the same time, there's a movement going on, and it's just something they're trying to move forward on that. Other thing is just in Laredo alone, the volume of bonds that we're working through, it's tremendous. IEs is it's over, and this was like 4 years ago, it was 500 daily. In addition to that, receiving the T&E, so we're looking at over 1,000 a day that we're working through. The biggest challenge we gotta go through is FTCs, and I know that we could work through your organization here to kind of work through that, because there's only a 15, 30-day challenge that we have to work through on that. So we have to enter them in there. And I know that's something that we could work together as a brokers association, both Mexican and US, since a lot of it's going southbound and delays are required because of permits or, serial numbers or certain process that they have to work through. On top of that, I know there's another process, GO, which is Class 11 or Class 8 warehouses, but FTC is a lot more convenient. I know it generates income for the city. The GO warehouses, the mono warehouses do not. It's strictly customs. So I know the whole Webb County is allowed, so I think we're missing out on a huge opportunity. You go into those meetings, I'm glad that you're participating, being involved and just listening to the conversation, and what they're trying to do is really expand it. I know there's a lawyer that's just exclusively involved with Marshall Miller.
Yeah.
And I know I've introduced him to have discussion with you, so hopefully we can kind of move forward with that, because I think we're missing out on a huge opportunity, and there's a movement that we could sit there, kind of to promote the warehouse that we have here in Laredo. I noticed you didn't mention, you said operators, but you didn't mention square footage. Are we number one in square footage or not?
No, I don't have that information.
Because I know that's a big deal as well.
And I'm planning on visiting each and every one of our current operators and talk with them and get their feedback and what are their pain points, what we could do to help them.
Okay.
Any other staff comments?
I'm gonna go back real quick. I know that we have a quorum now, so we can go back and work on the minutes and just review them. Anybody has a motion, move forward with motion?
Oh, sorry, that motion, yeah.
Okay. Carlos, okay, Carlos, Joel, okay. All in favor, aye? Any opposition? Motion passes, we got the minutes or something. All right, I saw at the very end, there was no discussion on the budget. Is there anything that we wanna discuss? I noticed that, like even dealing with FTC, I don't see, unless that's included, because I know there's a lot of income from the processing, so is that in the fees?
Yes.
Because I know you have expenses at 500, but, income, is that separate, or is that included like the general fund there, in the fees and collections?
Okay, so, under fees and collections, that is where our FTC is, and, oh, a piece of paper. For FTZ is under the rents, and that's in the $7 million is what the FTZ, and so far this year, we've brought in $221,850 in FTZ fees. Rents, the $7 million also includes $3.5 million for aeronautical income, 2.6 for non-aeronautical, 541,000 for car rental, and 81,000 for commissions. The fees and collections is our federal inspection station, parking. Those are included in the fees and collection. FIS, we've brought in 101,680. Parking so far, we're at 445,000. And that's what's in those two. That was something. I want to also mention that it shows that we have a net income of $2 million. However, if you look up under revenue, we have 1.7, almost 1.8 million under obligation bonds. That is for the purchase of our ARF truck. We have not received our ARF truck as of yet, therefore we don't have an expense for that. So the $2 million net income is not correct. It'll be about 300,000 after we pay for the ARF truck. But it shows in revenues because we've collected the money from the bonds to pay for the truck. We just haven't paid for the truck yet. I wanted to put that out there so that you wouldn't think that we're making $2 million a year. So.
And the surplus, is that kept here on the airport or
Yes,
is
yes.
it in general funds?
No, it does not go to the.
Has to be airport.
So that's one of the FAA rules. Any money that the airport earns has to be in airport coffers. It cannot be, there's rules and regulations on what it can be spent on and what it can't be spent on.
Diversion of funds is a big
Yeah,
no-no
it's a
with
big no-no.
FAA.
So,
I know that, in addition to rents, we had some properties that were unrented. Are they still unrented or we still have, all those rented out?
well, it would depend upon what property you're actually talking about, because I know that there's been some property bought with, FAA funds for noise program. And a lot of those properties can't be rented out, but Victoria is working on our properties, and she is working on getting our properties rented out that can be rented out, so.
I know Elizabeth was always bringing that up.
The noise abatement?
Huh?
The noise abatement homes?
No, some properties that we had just around surrounding areas that.
Buildings.
So,
they were
okay,
building for rent.
just so you guys are aware, yes, they were bringing that up. We had a while back gone out for bids for having a real estate broker. However, the fees were exorbitant. They wanted the 6% for a 30, 20-year lease. It would have put us in a hole. And in all reality, what we started doing was looking at what other cities do. We do have some of our parcels that are they're under something called a master development agreement, where they've already identified a use and they have people trying to market for it. As of right now though, we do have a lot of people approaching us. I do have some properties that have a lot more interest. We've been cleaning up our leases, but I do have a plan on wanting to, so the first thing is like cleaning that stuff up, but also once we're gonna do the master plan, I feel part of it has to do with land use. We can identify land uses. My perfect example for saying, like, if we want to bid a property out, I think the first one we would do is the one on Sandman and Bartlett. I get a lot of calls for that one, and it's only so it could be like a fair playing ground. Are we thinking of getting a broker again? No. What we are gonna do though is Port Laredo is working on their website, but they're also partnering with, and I can send you all the link. It's called, I don't even know the name of the system, but basically it is it's a dashboard where it'll create a map, and it'll be able to, all of our properties will come out on that map. And the purpose is, since we're not on MLS, which is the listing system that the realtors use, if they go to our website, or Port Laredo website, we can share it with any of our stakeholders, such as like economic development and stuff. They should be able to, even before calling me, what I want is for them to click on a property, it comes up, it should have a picture of it with details, square footage, how much the rent will be, or what we could assume it could be, what the use identified, and the current zoning. Because a lot of times, that's a question I get a lot, is like, well, what is it zoned as? Can I do this business here? We want the consumer to be, able to already know if they even qualify for that property. But yeah, we're not looking at getting a broker, but are we moving on our real estate? Yes, we are.
A lot of information. Anybody have anything, request or comment?
I can send you guys the link because it's actually a really cool system. If you ever go to the economic development website, they kind of have something similar, except this one is, it's not only gonna have our properties, it'll also benefit any properties that we know of that economic development is working with. I wanna say, I don't think Bridge has properties like that, but areas around Bridge where people can invest in. So it'll show a lot of information.
When you say economic development, there's two, Laredo Economic Development and the
Ours.
city one. Good
City of Laredo.
I have a couple of comments. This profit and loss is for a 9-month period. Do we agree
Yes.
on that?
Yes, it's
Okay.
from
From
October
October.
1.
Then I was looking at some differences here
Year to date.
on the grants. There's a difference of $64,165.
That's the 10%, that's what we pay for the airport is responsible. Some grants are 90%, FAA
Okay.
10%
Oh, that's what I
airport,
wanted to know.
and sometimes we have 95s.
Okay.
So let me,
Fine.
I'll explain how that works. So we get a grant, we don't get the money put into, they don't send me a check for that grant amount.
Okay.
When the expenditures happen, then we can submit, we have to pay first,
Uh-huh.
and then they
you get the-
reimburse. So
yeah.
there'll be times that some of the grants will show more money expended than collected, and it's just, we haven't collected as of yet. Normally, the construction money would come out of our construction fund. The finance department has put these two grants in our general fund
Yeah.
for airport. I'm not for sure why, but normally on just an operating budget, you would not see grant funding in here. But this is the city has put that, they set the accounts up, so I can't answer as to why they did it. But that's why there would be less money received per the expenditures. It's just as we pay them, then we request the reimbursement.
Get your balance.
We see that we received interest earnings for $1.3 million. Where do we have that money? Which
That
is
one I
bank
don't know.
institution? Is that,
That's our finance department.
what?
That's our finance department. They have a bond where they gain interest
Yeah.
every,
Do
they
you know
have
how
every.
much money do we have there?
We can get that information for you.
And for
That's
the
it, 1.3
reimbursement,
million.
I don't know, if we could get some details on how do we get that reimbursement, from where or from who? And.
What reimbursement are you asking
There's
for?
it says reimbursement, and miscellaneous, $704,000.
Oh, reimbursement and miscellaneous, 704, 123. What is
And-
that?
And in regards to the airport, Arnold, I noticed right now that I landed that the VGSI or PAPI, it's not working on 1/8 left.
Yeah, so we do have the nav aids on like pretty much every runway, but the one that's on the approach of 18 left, which is the one the airlines tend to use, that one belongs to the FAA. So it's actually, I think, been out for a couple weeks. I don't know exactly why, but
I
they've.
was looking for the lights
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, but it's been NOTAMed out, so
Yeah.
it has like a NOTAM and air traffic control, and FAA is working on a big
Okay,
one.
and then when I checked in at CBP, the officer said, oh, you're going to that meeting? Take a picture of how the furniture is here all damaged.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
because it's pretty bad, and he also complained, Mr. Galvan,
Mhm.
he also complained about the bathrooms. Sometimes they don't clean it as often as possible, and he says that he receives a lot of celebrities, and he was like feeling ashamed that the
Well-
bathrooms were not
Well, it's
clean.
Well, so the way the custodian, like, they go in the mornings between 8 to 12, and they clean it that one time.
That's what he
So-
said, yeah.
So, but then that's it for the day, so
Yeah,
if
that's it
something
for the
happens
day.
at like 6 PM,
Yeah.
and they get a
There's no one
celebrity,
there
then
to
it's
clean
not
it.
gonna be until.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, but again, I haven't got like any emails like saying that
They
they need like a
haven't-
special cleaning or anything
Well,
like
that's
that.
what he
so-
said 30 minutes ago, right?
Yeah,
Just reporting.
but see, then that's our issue. They never tell us.
Yeah, don't kill the messenger.
And that's actually the first time I have heard anything about the furniture.
No, I did.
That-
I
mean,
mean,
it's pretty bad.
I already got emailed about the furniture, so I did get a quote already to like.
We're
see-
working on it.
To get it like reupholstered, but for the price of it, it's better off just to get new ones,
Get a
so
new
I'm
one,
gonna get
that's
pricing
all.
for new ones.
Yeah.
And, we
It's
actually.
already, it's
that will
already
take-
depreciated.
How long is the shipping? How long is it?
It's gonna take another 90 weeks.
Yeah.
It's gonna be no Home Depot, don't worry.
We'll work on that too.
We need to go to IKEA San Antonio.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly.
Yeah, so we'll work on that. And we'll look at possibly doing, maybe doing more cleaning, we can see. But again, staffing issues on our end, having the staff, we actually have positions open for a cleaning person. And I know there was a thing out on Facebook that we pay $27 an hour for cleaning, but that's not, that was, we don't know where that came from. We just listed a cleaning position. One of our cleaning staff has left to work for
CBP.
CBP, but, which is a great opportunity for her, but it did leave us one person less, so, but we will look into possibly,
I think we have enough funds to have someone.
it's just getting somebody, that's our, that's our
That's the
problem,
bit,
is
okay.
getting people that will work.
But when I checked this morning, I think I had about 8 applicants, and I think I got a couple more since then, so we'll start doing interviews sooner than later.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but that's, we will look into that, cleaning, maybe possibly, having, our night person go.
So if it's not 27, what is the number?
Do what?
If it's not 27, what's the number?
15, no, the minimum?
1308.
That's the minimum that the city paid for.
Yeah, that's the city's minimum wage.
Yeah, that's the city minimum wage. We
One
start
great
like that.
advantage that we do have for international flights is that they give us 1 hour prior notice to get here,
Yeah.
which is amazing. San Antonio, and he
It's-
was telling me it's 24 hours or
Yes.
something. And if they miss it by 15 minutes, they
They're done.
cancel their flight. They have to come to Laredo. That's
Yes.
what Mr. Galvan, so that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
for
No,
Laredo.
it's a
We
good
need to
thing
take
that we have.
advantage of that.
Our FIS is excellent, 24/7.
Yes.
Yeah, so we
That's
are,
great, yeah.
and
Mr. Chairman, we have 2 action items.
Okay, action item.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's move forward, please.
So the agenda item is authorizing the city manager to execute a parcel development ground lease agreement between the city of Laredo and Gravity Jets LLC, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on a 13.42 acre plus or minus tract of land legally described as 13.42 acres out of Block 1, Laredo Airport Subdivision, in abstract 239, City of Laredo, Webb County, Texas, as recorded in Volume 5, Page 1 of the Plat of Records of Webb County, Texas, for the purposes of constructing and developing a fixed-based operator facility. The lease term shall be for 30 years, with one option to extend for an additional 9 years. The monthly rent shall be $11,691.50 and shall be adjusted commencing on the first anniversary of the occupancy term effective date. This agenda item is going for the second and final reading of ordinance on the 16th of September. It's for aircraft maintenance. They'll be doing a lot of aircraft maintenance. And within the next 5 years, it should bring 500 to 1,000 jobs to Laredo. And any questions on that? I can have Victoria expand on it if you would like. Okay.
It's not we don't have an action item, this one's not an action item, it's just kind of advising, cause it came in right after the last meeting, like the finalization of the lease, so it didn't make it to the last one, but we're just letting you know, this was already intra ordinances. It's good for Laredo, and as time progresses and we're ready to move forward with like groundbreakings, we'll obviously advise you all. But right now, it's just preliminary, we're getting into the lease.
And then the next action item is to consideration to authorize to purchase the excess aviation insurance for Laredo International Airport, including coverage for general liability, terrorism, Risk Insurance Act, and more, and with Chubb insurer Victor Steiner and Company for coverage from October 1, 24 to October 1, 25. So what we're having to do, as Victoria said earlier, the city purchasing department is changing some of our processes. And we just found out that we now have to put this out for bid. And as we don't have time to put it out for bid, we're asking the city council to allow us to go ahead and stay with Chubb for this year, so that we, because it expires September 30th, and so for us to have insurance for this next year, we're asking the city to allow us to use them.
How much is it more or less? Yeah.
How
Last
much
year-
is it?
It's
Yeah.
around 56,000.
It's what we paid last
How
year.
much?
55,000.
And it's budgeted
Annually.
already, there's no
Yeah.
increase, it's
No.
the same amount?
Well, it will probably go up, as everything has gone up, but we are working on getting those quotes, to getting the quote from them.
Since you're not going out for bid, you're asking us to go directly to the Chubb, so with that being said, you kind of anticipate, did you guys use it all last year or not?
We did not use it, but it's required by law.
To go up?
Yeah, no, it's required by law to have
To
the
have
I'm
coverage,
talking
and
about
TML
the
doesn't
increase,
have.
if we haven't been using it the last couple of years, I mean, why should it have been increased?
Well,
That is a question for the insurance.
Yeah.
Well, since
I
we're
know.
going out without bidding, and we're gonna
Yeah.
ask them, hey, just ask, if
We
we can
don't
maintain the
ex-
same price, man, just a
we
suggestion.
don't anticipate it going up much, but we are prepared for it to go up.
Okay.
Yes,
As
sir.
everything else has gone up.
Have you seen your automobile insurance lately?
You know, everything has gone up,
Jeez.
Fair enough.
so.
Is there any action we have to motion, or, because we're already, you guys can bypass,
If
council
you
and
wanna
just go
take
straight
no
to it?
action, I think you can say we're gonna take no action if
Yeah.
it's already going, it's gonna be on the city council agenda for September 16th. So if you don't wanna take action, that's fine.
It's just depending on what they say anyway, so they could say, you know what, we wanna go for bid, or whatever, you know, so we gotta kind of wait on this anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next one is to consider to reschedule the airport advisory board meeting from October 9th to a later date. And I'll let her tell why.
The reason, we put this on the agenda was because, well, everybody's here. PAC called us and they have advised us that there would be a scheduling conflict during that week. So they had recommended either a week before or a week after. I would say a week after because I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be quite honest. I feel that the earlier we have it, the less numbers we have. Because the reports aren't officially due until the 15th. And that maybe that's why some of our numbers are lower at times. But if you do it earlier, you're gonna see the same numbers, like similar numbers to this.
And the week prior,
Yeah, the week before.
the week prior to this meeting, Sanchez is traveling. You and I are traveling.
So October 16th.
Oh, yeah, and the majority of us will be out, Mr. Sanchez and Virginia won't be here for the advisory board meeting the week before, so it wouldn't be a good reschedule either.
The 16th?
On the 16th?
Is that the
Good.
what?
Yeah, I'm good.
October 16th?
Yeah.
I'm good too. I'm flying in on the 15th and flying out on the 17th, so I'm just here for that one day. That order? All right. So,
Wait, can somebody make that in a
yeah,
motion?
make a motion, please. No? Earl?
Who was
Motion.
Bill
Bill
Ford?
first,
But
Earl.
yes, and Gordillo first.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. All right, we already discussed the budget, unless we're gonna go anything else, that was at the end.
Just, Mr. Chairman, if you allow me a question, about last, meeting, you mentioned about that airline that is flying to Monterrey. Any update on that?
No, I don't. I know that had been waiting for them to get all of their certifications. And the city council approved,
Their revenue agreement.
yeah, they approved the revenue agreement, and so now we're having to wait until they get all of their stuff, all their license and stuff that they need to be able to fly commercially here. We do have openings for, customer service representatives to handle the flights. So we will, as the airport, will be doing that. We will have at least two, maybe three, we'll have 2 employees that will be hired on a part-time basis, as long as we have their service, to do the flights. And right now, the flights are supposed to be Monday through Friday, leave at 7 and come back at,
9.
or come at 7 and leave at 9, is what it is. They'll arrive at 7 and from Monterey, and then leave at 9.
Monday
To
to
go.
Friday.
But I'll just tell you,
Okay,
Corpus has announced, Brownsville has announced,
yes.
and we have 5 days a week, and I know Corpus only has 4.
Well, if you have any advances, can you just please provide that in the next meeting?
Yes, yes. we
Thank
will-
you.
We will get more information.
Any additional requests, any comments, suggestions? All right, that being said, motion adjourned. Second, all right.